Hello, everyone, and in celebration of achieving the 350 subscriber milestone, I thought it would be fun to make a not so serious video like this, making a tier list of all the Total War games. So I know that I've been getting a lot of questions about my opinions and these sorts of things, and I thought this would be a good way to share with all of you what I think, and with some explanations. And anyway, this is just a kind of casual video. It'll also give me more time to prepare the next episodes of my Europa Barbarorum 2 campaign, as well as the next mod review that I have coming out soon. So, we have a few tiers here. I edited a couple of the tiers because I wanted it to be a little different. So I put I don't know. If I haven't played the game, I'll put it under I don't know. There's one game in particular that needs overhaul mods. Good, great, and legendary. So, and of course, I'm going to be taking everything into account. So the vanilla game, the mods for that game, and let's get into it. So medieval Total War, the original medieval Total War. A lot of people don't like ranking the first two games, but medieval Total War was my first Total War game. It was my first exposure to the series. And I had only played Civilization before that. And really, Medieval was the one with its atmosphere and its battles that got me really hooked on Total War, as opposed to other strategy games. And the atmosphere, the soundtrack, the battles, I know the graphics aren't so great, but in terms of the original Total War engine with the board game style, this was, I think, probably the best they could have done. And the AI was okay. For that reason, I have to put it under great. I have to put it under great. The soundtrack is so good. I like it more than the soundtrack of Medieval 2. The era campaigns idea is such a great idea, and I was very upset when Medieval 2 came out, and it didn't have era campaigns. It just had the early campaign, the 1080 start date. But original Medieval, of course, has early, high, and late, which is very interesting. The high start date, of course, has the shattered Byzantine Empire that controls Nicaea, Trebizond, and Epirus, and you have to kind of reunite the Byzantine Empire, take back Constantinople. That was always a favorite campaign of mine, and the Mongol threat was always looming. It was just such a great game. The atmosphere, they really nailed it with Medieval Total War. That's why I'm not afraid to rank it. I put it under great. It has some good mods, actually, but because of the sprite-based battles and the kind of flat map and the graphics issues, I can't put it under legendary. I put it under great. Okay, next one, Shogun 2. This is an interesting one for me. You guys might know, I released a Shogun 2 retrospective review video. It was one of the first videos I released, I think, a couple months ago. And Shogun 2 is probably one of my favorite Total Wars to play with just vanilla. So like I could put in a couple of realistic, authentic color mods that kind of change the faction colors and make them a little less gamey, arcadey. But in terms of a vanilla campaign, I have to say that Shogun 2 is probably the most fun Total War that doesn't really need any mods for it to be super fun. And the multiplayer was also extremely interesting with the whole clans mechanic. That was very fun back in the day. It actually got me to play Total War multiplayer battles, which I was never that interested in. And it has a lot of great mods. It even has the Last Alliance mod, I believe it's called, which is a Lord of the Rings mod for Shogun 2, and you can edit the map, and it does have mods that add Korea, for example, so you can simulate the Korean invasions if you want of Toyotomi Hideyoshi. So it's not the most historical. It's not the most historically accurate of the Total War games. It's definitely more gamey, but all things considered, I have to put it under legendary. I really like Shogun 2. I really like it. The battles feel great. The cavalry charges. Cavalry charges are so important to me. Rome, the original Rome has such good cavalry charges. Medieval 2, you might have seen in my Europa Barbarorum 2 Let's Play, it makes me frustrated a bit. Even when the charge is good, it's not very satisfying. It's kind of anticlimactic, but I like Shogun 2's cavalry. It feels like a stampede when you get a good charge off on the flank. I like Shogun 2 a lot. I put it under legendary. Also, really important, the Shogun 2 soundtrack. I think it's the last one done by Jeff Van Dyke, who was the original Total War soundtrack composer. And it's such a great soundtrack. Just excellent, really atmospheric. The sounds in the game are really well done, all of them. And Fall of the Samurai and Rise of the Samurai are some of the best DLCs, most complete, different feeling DLCs that Creative Assembly has ever released. Fall of the Samurai especially, it feels like a totally different game. Like, it's still Japan, but the atmosphere, the music, the soundtrack, all of it is changed, really changes the feel of the game, and I really appreciate the effort they put into that. And the effort they put into Shogun 2 in general. So, Shogun 2 is legendary for me. I don't know. Empire. So, Empire, yeah, I was around when Empire was released, and Empire, it's still broken. There are so many things about it that are just broken, and even the most total overhaul of overhaul mods have trouble fixing some of the issues of Empire. Now, I actually like Empire a lot. I like the battles. I like the campaign map. I like the different theaters of the campaign map. I think it's one of the best campaign maps they've ever created. So in any case, I actually like the gunpowder warfare in Empire. I really like all the gunpowder Total Wars, Fall of the Samurai being one of them. I think it translates well to Total War. So that was not a problem for me. The naval combat was very sluggish. I think they could have done a better job with that. There are a lot of mods like Empire Realism that really improve the naval combat of Empire a lot, as well as the land battles. A lot of the graphical mods are definitely necessary because Empire looks rather lackluster. Even compared to Medieval 2 and the original Rome, it was just lacking a little punch. The soundtrack, I like Empire's soundtrack. I like classical music. I like church chanting. But Empire's is just, it lacks punch. The soundtrack lacks punch, and they did a much better job in Napoleon. Richard Bedeau did a much better job in Napoleon, I think. I think he's a good composer. I think just Empire is probably his weakest work in terms of his work on Total War. though there are some tracks I like a lot. But really, vanilla being in the state that it's in, the imbalance of the campaign, and the kind of lack of punch in the music and the graphics, and a lot of the mechanics. Empire was very ambitious when it comes to diplomacy, diplomatic options, and things like that, region trading and all that. And they really tried to make it a better part of the game because the diplomacy in the original Rome was not great, and Medieval 2 was also not fantastic. So Empire really had the groundwork to have a really good and rich diplomacy system that Total War could have used, but it's just the AI couldn't handle any of it. And it really needs mods to fix a lot of these issues. And even after that, there are some issues that are really tough nuts to crack. So I created the Needs Overhaul Mods category for Empire because it really does need overhaul mods in order not only to make the game good, but to fix blatant bugs and problems, especially the AI. You can see there's a mod that I will talk about soon called Imperial Destroyer, which has extremely good AI for Empire. And that's really what the AI should have been in Empire. Anyway, let's keep going. I think I've talked about Empire enough. So now we have Medieval 2 Total War. So Medieval 2 Total War is not my favorite Total War. And I know this makes a lot of people upset, but hear me out. Ever since when Medieval 2 was coming out, I was there. I was in the community. I was excited, just like everybody else, for Medieval 2. And I was a big Rome fan. I was a modder. I can't do modding that well, but I modded a couple small things. I was involved in the Rome community. I was excited for Medieval 2. And then the game came out. And a lot of the issues that I felt plagued Rome, the original Rome, I felt like Medieval 2 didn't really address a lot of those issues. And I felt like it introduced some of its own issues. I'll give a few examples. Yes, the graphics were better. The AI is much improved in a lot of ways, both on the campaign map and in battles, in siege battles as well. But there are just a lot of small things, niggling things. So I'll give a good example. In Rome 1 didn't have this problem. There's an issue where the cavalry model is attached to the horseman. So the model of the rider is actually attached to the horse in Medieval 2. And as far as I know, there's no way to change that. So when there are cavalry casualties on the battlefield, the rider of the horse is always stuck to the horse. So then all the casualties have fallen on their side and they look very comically similar. And I know that seems like a small thing, but it kind of affects the immersion factor of the game. And please, if there has been a way to find out how to fix this issue or to change this, I'd like to know. Please let me know in the comments, because I was away from Total War for a couple of years while I was studying. But yeah, that bothered me in Medieval 2. The whole castle city division thing on the campaign map, where some provinces had their province centers be castles, which were more military focused, and some being more city focused. I actually didn't like that system very much. I felt that it was better managed with resources in terms of what buildings you can construct in certain regions, which Rome had. And let me talk positively about Medieval 2. for a moment. One thing I really like is the recruitment system, how Medieval 2 added the unit pools where it makes it a lot more difficult just to spam elite armies everywhere, or at least with the right mods you can create such a system. And yeah, the music of Medieval 2, the soundtrack, is another legendary soundtrack by Jeff Van Dyke. Very good job by him on this one. I like it just as much as Medieval Total War soundtrack. I think Medieval Total War is more consistent. I think it has better campaign map ambient music, but Medieval 2 has so many classic tracks. I can't fault it. Another thing I want to mention for Medieval 2 is the lack of the population mechanic. So when you construct a unit, it doesn't have an impact on the population of the province, which I understand, but I actually liked it better the way it was in Rome 1, where recruiting a unit affects population. But of course, Medieval 2 has the most mods of any Total War, as far as I'm aware, more than the original Rome even. And they're just so diverse, and there are so many. Even though I always preferred the feel of the original Rome, one other thing I want to talk about. Cavalry charges in Medieval 2 are not that satisfying. In the original Rome, they were very satisfying. So I don't know what happened there with Medieval 2. Even when you get a good charge off, it doesn't feel the same. It doesn't feel like a big impact. You see the impact, but it doesn't feel like there was a big collision. Maybe it's just me that feels that way. But anyway, because of the mods, because vanilla, I was not a huge fan of vanilla Medieval 2, and even Kingdoms. I felt like the Kingdoms campaigns were not that in-depth, and they could have done a much better job on those campaigns. Crusades, Britannia. I feel like mods did those so much better than the Kingdoms campaigns. So because of the mods, I'm putting Medieval 2 under Legendary. But if it was just vanilla, I would put it under good. Because it was fun, but it was not a good vanilla effort, in my opinion. There were a lot of things that were rushed, especially a lot of immersion breaking things, like a lot of the things I just mentioned, as well as something like province names and province divisions. They were just not done very well on the map, and some of them looked very awkward. And the province names were like Constantinople province and things like that. It was just a weak vanilla effort, in my opinion. But because of the mods, the excellent mods, I put it under Legendary, because it just has to be there. Rome goes under Legendary. Again, the vanilla game, very fun. I think it was a better vanilla campaign than Medieval 2. Again, one of the things I was hoping Medieval 2 would improve upon was the historicity and the historical accuracy of the campaign map, because there were some things in the original Rome that were just not accurate, and they didn't have an impact on gameplay when they were inaccurate. That was a big thing to me. Like when a lot of people argue gameplay for historical inaccuracies, but when that historical inaccuracy is just the name of a king or the name of a prince or something, or whose son, things like that, or which kingdom owns which province. Things like that don't really affect gameplay or can be rebalanced. So I don't think those are valid arguments in a lot of cases. And Medieval 2 didn't really improved upon Rome a little bit in that regard. But Rome was just, it was the first 3D, of course, Total War, of course, and it's a classic. I remember my first campaign as the Julii. Of course, because they were red, I wanted to play as them. And I'll never forget discovering the world of Rome Total War. And of course, the modding community is incredible, and you see in the videos I've made how incredible they continue to be. even 16 years after the release of this game, and my next Let's Play is definitely going to be a mod for Rome Total War, probably Invasio Barbarorum, one of those mods, so please let me know in the comments below which mod you would like me to play, but I'm leaning towards that one. And yeah, Rome Total War, just a classic game. The soundtrack is classic. I wish the soundtrack was a bit longer and a bit more varied, though. Such a great effort. The atmosphere is there, I think, better than in Medieval 2 in a lot of ways. The graphics are incredible for a game from that time period, and you see in a lot of... I'm going to take a look at a submod for Roma Surrectum 2 called When Worlds Collide, and in there you can see that those graphics they can be incredible when they push the engine to its limits, and this is just such a great game. It goes under Legendary, along with Shogun 2 and Medieval 2. In terms of how much fun I've had with these three games, they all go under Legendary. Shogun, I'm putting it under Good, because I have played it and it's fun. It's a fun time. I put it under Good. The soundtrack is great. The atmosphere is good. It's old. It's old. That's why it goes under Good. Medieval Total War is a better game. End of story. Napoleon Total War. I'm putting Napoleon under Great. Napoleon's a great game. I like Napoleon a lot. My second or third video, I think, was a retrospective review of Napoleon Total War, and you can really see how much I like the game in that video. And the vanilla game, actually, before I said that Shogun 2 was the first game that I could really enjoy a lot, just vanilla, with just the vanilla campaign, because I enjoyed Rome's a lot. I enjoyed Medieval 2's. It's not like I didn't like the vanilla campaigns, but Shogun 2's was just a step beyond those. The vanilla campaign, that is. And Napoleon as well has an excellent feel. The atmosphere is there in vanilla. It doesn't need mods. It doesn't need graphical mods to look good. It doesn't need mods to play in a way that's fun. And the historical battles are also excellent. It's just a great all-around effort. The only reason I don't put it in Legendary is because the campaign suffers from a replayability issue. It's very Europe-focused, and it's very much focused on Napoleon, and it just suffers from replayability more than the other games. And I actually don't have a replayability issue with Shogun 2. I always have fun with it. I just play a different faction, and I have a different focus when I play a different faction, and it's very replayable to me, especially with the excellent multiplayer campaign. Oh, one other thing, Napoleon introduced a real working multiplayer campaign, which I will always be very thankful to Napoleon for, and I want to put it under Legendary. But I'm putting it under Great just because, again, of the modding issues. There are a lot of great mods for Napoleon. There's a Darth mod Napoleon. There's what was that mod's name? There's the Great War mod. There's Napoleonic Wars 3. Excellent mods. But again, they all kind of suffer from the replayability issue that Napoleon suffers from, and that's why I put it under Great. But other than that, I think Napoleon is a fantastic game. And actually, it's probably the best Total War game for a Total War beginner. Because of its good tutorial, and because of the Italian and Egyptian campaigns that are kind of hand-holdy, which for me as a veteran of Rome and Medieval 2 and Empire, I didn't really need the hand-holdy nature of it, but I also appreciate its character-driven campaigns, and those are very good for new players. So I like Napoleon a lot. I think I've talked about Napoleon enough. I don't know. I haven't played Britannia, so I don't know. I'll pick it up at some point, probably on sale. It's just this time period has been done by mods, and as far as I can tell, the economy and the campaign system in Britannia has been rather dumbed down, even though the battles are really good and the sieges are really good, at least as far as I'm aware. So that's why I haven't really been... It also came out at a time when I was really busy, so I didn't feel the need to pick it up. That's the only reason I don't have it. I'll pick it up at some point, and I'll do a retrospective on it at some point if people want me to, but it's also a very regional campaign, so I don't know. I don't know if it was a good idea. Anyway, Attila. I like Attila. I'm going to put it under great. Attila's a great game. I like the vanilla campaign. I like the way that... I like the map a lot better than Rome 2, actually. I like... one of the big problems with Rome 2 for me was just the feel of the campaign map and the atmosphere it created, which Attila really rectified. Attila creates a good atmosphere for the campaign, really dark and apocalyptic, like a real Dark Ages Total War. And much better than Barbarian Invasion, in my opinion. I found Barbarian Invasion to be quite boring, actually. There are a lot of mods like Invasio Barbarorum that do the late Roman period so much better than Barbarian Invasion. And Attila does it well as well, in my opinion. It adds a lot of new mechanics compared to Rome 2 that I really enjoy. The AI is not so bad. The battles feel very good in Attila. I like the way battles feel in Attila. I like the way cavalry charges feel. They kind of remind me of Shogun Two, kind of the stampeding cavalry that kind of shake the camera. It just feels good to me. I think the atmosphere was a lot better. I think the soundtrack was good. The mods, it has a good modding scene. Attila has a better modding scene than Rome 2 in a lot of ways. It has the medieval 1212 mod that's well underway in development. It has what was its name? It's off the top. Oh, okay. It has the Ancient Empires mod, which is still in development, which I will cover more soon, which is an excellent mod, which really brings that historical accuracy and great long-form campaign feel from Europa Barbarorum and other mods to Attila Total War in a great Roman period mod that starts in 202 BC in the middle of the Battle of Zama. It's a great mod. I highly suggest you all try it out. I like Attila, but again, the limitations in modding for Attila, even though it has some great mods and they're still in development and they're going to be legendary mods, it's just the modding scene is so much, I don't know. I like the Steam Workshop. It definitely makes things easier for a lot of people to just click a button and be subscribed. But I don't know, it's just not the same as the old modding scene for Medieval 2 and Rome. I don't know. Attila's great. I like it a lot. I'll be covering it. I'll be covering the medieval mod as well as Ancient Empires soon. I like it a lot. It's also not very well optimized. My computer, I'm running on a laptop with a GTX 1050 Intel Core i5-7300HQ quad-core processor, KB Lake. It runs okay, but it's just not very well optimized. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Rome 2. Rome 2. Where to put Rome 2? Rome 2. I haven't talked about... Okay, this is going to be easier. I don't know. Rome 2. I got Rome 2 on launch. I got the collector's pre-order edition. I got the card game. I got the little catapult that you make in the box. I put it together. I got the map. I put that Rome 2 map on my wall. And Rome 2 on release had a lot of problems. It had a lot of problems. I remember everybody was just recruiting slingers everywhere. When I have nightmares, I think of Rome 2's all-slinger armies. There are a lot of aspects of Rome 2 that I like a lot, and especially after all the patches, I think it's a good game. I enjoy it a lot. I have a lot of hours in Rome 2. The multiplayer campaign, just like the Shogun 2 one and Napoleon one, very fun. It's a very good game. It's a very good game. It has some good mods, excellent mods. Divide et Impera. I'm going to cover it more. I haven't had a chance to play it actually yet, but I'm going to cover it. Restitutor Orbis for the Empire Divided DLC. I think they did a good job with the DLC in Rome 2. I think the campaigns with the different eras are very good. I like that they included Imperator Augustus free. I believe that one was included free. So I appreciated that. I like Rome 2. I don't know if I should put it under good or great, because there are some things that can't be altered, like the campaign map. And the campaign map is one of the things that really bothers me in Rome 2, because one thing that really hurts my immersion are those cliffs. Like the very obvious cliffs where you can't disembark your troops. They're just an eyesore. And the huge settlements on the campaign map. Now, Attila toned this down a little bit. Now, I still think they're a little too big in Attila. But in Rome 2, they're way too big. Way too big, in my opinion. And especially when they grow. And, like, I understand it's kind of like Civilization in that regard, where the cities grow and things like that. But this is not Civilization. I like Civilization a lot. But I don't like the huge cities, and I don't like the portrayal of the Seleucid Empire in Rome 2 with all the vassals that just betray it immediately anyway. I don't think that was the way to handle that situation. But now it's a great game. Because it's great now, I'm putting it under great. Because it's great now, I'm putting it under great. And there are a lot of great mods for it. I will be covering Restitutor Orbis for the Empire Divided DLC, and the mod for Wrath of Sparta. I'm forgetting the name. It's not Hegemonia, that's the mod for Rome Total War. It might be Hellenica, but I'll cover that mod as well. I really like the DLCs, the DLC campaigns. They add different eras, different start dates. I'm putting it under great because they really did support it after release. After that horrible release, they supported the game, and now it's great. And there are a few things I still don't like about the game, but I'll cover that in a retrospective review that I'll plan eventually to do on Rome 2. Now, yeah, I really appreciate how they stuck with it, and now it's a great game. It's not my favorite Total War, partially because of the bad taste it left in my mouth from the original release, but it's good, and it's even good vanilla. Just playing vanilla, it's good. I like it a lot, and it's very stable and polished. So I'm putting it under great. Three Kingdoms. I really like it. I like the character focus. The mod scene for Three Kingdoms is not as big as Total Wars in the past, and I don't know, I haven't followed the Warhammer games because I'm I haven't read the books, and I haven't invested myself in the universe. I'd like to read them at some point and get into it, but I just haven't. And I don't have the desire to play the games before reading the books. And I like historical games better anyway. But Three Kingdoms I really like, but the mod scene is kind of depressing, in my opinion. I really like the diplomacy in Three Kingdoms. I really like the character focus. I think it really changes up Total War a lot. And you can really see that in Total War Saga Troy as well, the focus on characters. I like that they added records mode because I was not a huge fan of the heroes. They're fun for like a couple campaigns, but then eventually, I don't know, to me it kind of hurts the replayability to some degree. It makes more sense for Troy, in my opinion. But in any case, I'm putting Three Kingdoms under good. I think it's a really good game. I really like it. I've really enjoyed my time with it. I will cover it eventually. I like Chinese history. I like this period. The battles feel kind of samey to me. They did a really good job with diplomacy. The graphics look great. The music is great. But the whole package, also because of the rather sad mod scene, in my opinion, that kind of drags it down for me to a good. But I like the game a lot, and I will make some videos about it because I like Chinese history. So it's not like I'm not interested in the period or anything. And I will be reviewing the records mode, especially because I like that they added that in. I appreciate that. And yeah, I know Troy is not present here, but I'm going to put Troy under great. I really like Total War Saga Troy. I will be making some videos about it. I think it's a very interesting game. I think it's Creative Assembly's foot in the door to making a game about an older period, so the Bronze Age or the Ancient Near East or something like that. I think they really put their foot in the door there, and the kind of infantry chariot combat it introduces. So I'm happy to put Troy under great. I understand it's not a full Total War release. It's a Total War Saga release. But I like the graphics a lot. I think the campaign map looks very nice. The music is very atmospheric. I think the UI was done very well. I like that the cities are back to their normal size and they don't grow to like gigantic proportions like in Rome 2. Total War Saga Troy. I put it under great. And I'll explain why in more detail in a future video. So anyway, that's it for my tier list of Total War games. If you like this video, let me know in the comments. This is just like a casual video, just so you guys get to know me a little better in my opinions. I hope I explained myself well. Don't get mad at me. It's just my opinion. So, yeah, thank you everybody for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.